Hello YouTubers, this is Indiana Pepsi coming at you. Just want to talk a little bit about myself and a few games that I've been playing. And anyway, my name's Jim, 37, and I live in Northern Ireland. I play on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Um, right now I've been playing a few games like Grand Theft Auto 5, which it's a brilliant game. The online's been getting a wee bit dull as of late though, because it's getting very repetitive because they still haven't added in things like heists and stuff yet. Although if you check on the site, it still says heists are coming soon, which is a good thing. Hopefully, it is gonna come soon because I want to see you being able to get your crew together and send them out on the various missions to prepare for the heist. Then give them little independent jobs to do during the heist. Like one has to say cut the alarm wires, and the other one has to sit ready in the getaway car. One has to like watch the doors or whatever for someone coming and alert the other ones in case they may have to leave early. And while the other ones steal the money or the jewelry or whatever you're doing the heist on. It'll be interesting to see what they do if and when the heists come in. At the moment, it's been getting repetitive because really all you can do is parachuting, racing, and a few missions. Me and a friend of mine. You can see us. There's my Facebook page I have called Bungle and Muff. There's a few videos. It's not a very old page, not long set it up, but there's a few videos of me and him playing the game and a few pictures and things like that on there. So feel free to go and have a look on Facebook if you want to see it. There will be more videos added and some more pictures and stuff hopefully. But yeah, I definitely want to see heists and stuff. Coming into it a little bit more. Because it's getting old. Jump around in helicopters and we're constantly finding new ways to entertain ourselves. We tend to play the Top Fun 2 um, mission quite a bit, where you're being chased obviously in the airplane and you're in a car getting away. I haven't tried the one where you're on the motorbike because um, I don't know, just haven't tried it yet. Might give it a go. Get a bit annoyed as well as there's a few trolls out there. Earlier tonight I was playing and I hit a guy on foot, and I must have been doing about 80 miles an hour. I was in a Corvette and I was at full throttle. And I wasn't quite up to full speed, but it was getting there. And I hit him, and I must have knocked him about 50 feet in the air, when he landed flat on his face. And he got up and walked away. This means that he's either a hacker. Well, no, actually, it means he's probably some kind of a hacker or something, enabled to get himself full health, or enable himself to wear something that's giving him full health. My hair's a bit of a mess because it's late. It's like 10 to 1 in the morning that I'm doing this video, so I'm not at my best. I don't care. Um, but yeah, I suppose I'd like to see a lot more coming into it. The new pack came out. Didn't really add that much. It just added more ways to really race, to be honest. I'm getting a bit tired of racing and singing in the shower and robbing stores. You want some heists and you want a bit more multiplayer thing you can do. And it's a good game though. I'm enjoying playing it. I'm enjoying the single player especially. I'm not somebody who sits down and plays and plays and plays. I like to play a variety of games so that I don't get burned out on one game. I think I'm about 66% through it. I've got the helping the people, the random event thing. I've got that done a little bit. And I've got the 14 out of 14 on that one. I've got a few other bits and bobs done. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm enjoying the game, but the online needs to step up a little bit. Because when I first started, I was first able to get in through all the problems. It was pretty good, and it seemed to be this immersive type story mode thing going on, like you would get from an MMO type of thing. that your character was going to go through a story, and then that pretty decimated pretty quickly, and it turned out to be just a you know a good intro, and then it dissipated into running around, and then the missions don't really seem to have any kind of super point to them. You're just running around doing stuff for somebody. There's not like a chain of missions. You can set up a chain of missions, so you can finishing a mission for Martin, say, would take you to do a mission for somebody else, then doing a mission for him sets up another mission to do something for somebody else. It just kind of seems to, just be random missions, and it's not the best in the world, but I'm still enjoying it. Especially the offline single player. It's really fun. Sorry, by the way, for my reflection of my glasses, but there's nothing I can do about it because there's a light on my laptop webcam, and I don't know how to turn the light off, so it shines in my glasses and causes a reflection. And if anybody says anything about my heavy breathing, I'm going to slap their balls. It's been mentioned in a couple of other videos. It's been mentioned on online a few times through Guild Wars 2, and the talked about Grand Theft Auto 5. That's the reason for my heavy breathing, is because I'm an asthmatic, pretty bad one too, and it's not helped by the fact that I do that. So, I am a smoker, and as I know, people probably are going to say, "What are you doing being a smoker? You're an asthmatic." That's fine. I got into the habit when I was about 18. Stupid idea. I was dared to smoke a cigarette when I was like 18, and I was pissed as a fart out of my head. Excuse me. I was really drunk, and I just went, okay, no problem. Started smoking, and that was it. I got hooked after one or two cigarettes. He just seemed to keep passing me cigarettes, and I just kept on smoking them. When I woke up the next morning, I had a bad hangover, and the first thing I could think of, and I couldn't get out of my head, was reaching for a cigarette. And so that's why my breathing is a bit heavier sometimes, especially if I'm online with the microphone. On the PlayStation it's not so bad, because I use a wireless earpiece. It only comes to about here. But my headset for my game thing down here, my PC gaming, it's a little tangled. See, but obviously the microphone comes right down to your face, so it's like you can't avoid hearing or picking up the breathing sometimes. So anybody out there who watches this that I may have bumped into during an online game, or has seen one of my videos, I can't help the breathing. It's just the way it is with my asthma. Anyway, another other game, I've seen a lot of gurning about this game, a lot of screaming and moaning, and it's Formula 1 2013. I have it sitting right there. And it was very tough at the beginning because of the tire wear, and the races and stuff were very bad. I found myself in we did a qualifying session. I did one lap, qualified in pole position. I checked my tire wear, and my tires were in pure red, as if I'd done about 20 laps on them. And I got no start. I lost about 30 places. Well, there's no 30 places in it, but I lost a bunch of places, and I found it really hard even to get into the top 10. With those kind of games, every game has flaws when it first come out. Skyrim, when it first came out, I played that a lot for my PS3. When it first came out on PS3, people couldn't play it. It was moving like 6 frames a second and different things like that. But it took them a bit of a while to fix it, because the inner workings of a PlayStation 3 with its unique processor and the way they have it set up is more difficult to port games to than, say, the Xbox 360, for example. And so they got it fixed, and it runs nearly perfect now. It's a great game to play. There was a patch came out for that about I'd say about a week and a half ago now. The patch came out for 2013, and now you can race pretty well. The tire wear is a lot better, and you start off with very pale orange tires, and it goes fine. and you just have to be patient and wait. People, they go onto the forums and demand this and demand that, and say, "Oh, I'm not going to buy another game if you don't fix this one now." They can't make the game perfect every single time. Very, very, very seldom do you ever see a game coming out that plays, near perfectly and seamlessly on the first release. And it's not always up to the developer when they can release the patch. They also have to sometimes go through Sony, and sometimes they're not going to release a tiny patch to fix one problem. They prefer letting the game roll for a while and then hearing all the feedback, seeing what bugs there are, and then putting out a big one that's about 70 to 100 megabytes. I think that was a 74 megabyte update, and fix as many problems as they can at once. There's no point in them releasing 30 or 40 patches to fix little tiny problems here and there, when they can just wait a while, see what happens, see what appears, and then fix 20 or 30 problems at once. It's a lot easier and better for the developer and cheaper. There's a lot less work involved in it when they put it into one pack, and it's easier for us because we don't have to wait around for downloads all the time. You get one download for the patch and it goes through and plays the game, whether it's a PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. It's much better that way, getting it fixed that way, than what it is, doing it, as I said, one at a time. But the game plays fine now. On my career mode, I'm in Spain, so it's like the fifth race, I believe, fourth race or fifth race. And each track has its different issues. Some tracks are harder on the brakes, some tracks are harder on the tires. And it's just a matter of staying on the track. Every time you slip off the track and go on the curbs too much, or go onto the marbles, or touch the sand or dirt at the side of the track by running wide, you're wearing your tires down about 10 or 15% more than what you would if you managed to stay on the racing line. Also by applying too much throttle on the exit of the corners, it's very difficult for some players who don't have a steering wheel. The PlayStation controller is pretty good touch sensitive on the trigger buttons, but not the best compared to pedals. I actually don't use the trigger buttons for it. I have turned it into the X button to go and basically the square button to stop. And I just tip the throttle ever so slightly, exiting a corner, and then when you're straightening it up, you build up your revs and you go. I find it works great. I find it's the best route to go for me anyway. Everyone's different, but I find it the best way to go. Because you can just manage it by, like I said, tipping it ever so slightly, going around the corner, and then release it and go, and it stops a lot of wheel spin, and it helps to keep your tires fresh. But definitely staying on the racing line is what you want to do. The more you go off the racing line and run wide, the more your tires are going to wear, and then you're going to find yourself having to make 2 stops instead of 1, or 3 stops instead of 2. Although there's some things like the waiting time in the pits. An average race, the pit lane stop is about 20 to 25 seconds, going all the way in, out, and then back out on the track. It's a little unrealistic because a lot of these you'll find yourself flying down the pit lane, going in, coming out, and it's only a 14-second or 15-second stop, which I think is about 10 seconds to 12 seconds faster than what it is in game or in real life. But because I'm an avid watcher of Formula 1 and a very big avid watcher of football, Liverpool FC. But anyway, yeah, it's not a bad game. You just have to have patience. And it's true of any game. You have to have patience of any game coming out, because it's going to have problems, and you have to give the developers time to sort through the problems, create a patch, and then send the patch out to the players. And it's down to the players. When you're in the forums, you shouldn't get angry, you shouldn't shout, scream and yell. You should talk to the game developers and designers, tell them what's wrong, they read a lot of those forums, they see the feedback, and they'll the more you talk to them, the more people that get on the forums and tell these problems, the more chance there is of getting a particular problem patched, and the more quicker it is. If one person states a problem and nobody else does, they'll think it's just something that he or she are doing in the game and not a problem with the game itself. So everybody out there who has a problem with any game, join up with the forums on the main game, on the game site, whether it's EA games or Bethesda or Codemasters or whatever games you play, and give them feedback, but do it in a nice way because these guys work hard. I've done a lot of different beta testing for a lot of games, and when you're doing that, the idea is to they give you a goal. You go and try and do this. Like maybe go and find as many glitches as you can or problems. Try and see if you can fall through landscape and get stuck, or walk through a wall where you're not supposed to. And you try and push the game as far as you can. Then you write your report out at the end of the day and tell them what's happened. Or if you come across any kind of serious issues, i.e., I had one when I got stuck in a rock. I went into a rock and I couldn't get out of the rock, and I was swinging and swinging my weapon, and the enemy was killing me, was doing damage to me, and I wasn't able to hit him. I was like stuck in this wee invisible barrier thing, and so it was a serious issue. So I immediately clicked on the top left corner, wrote out my report, and told them about it, as I'm sure quite a few people who did the beta testing for the game did. And there's been a few games I've tested. It's quite fun. You get to play the game early. You also get to get a wee sometimes a little bit of exclusive content, like a badge of honor to say you did it. But that doesn't happen all the time. Only some people and some developers do that. Other developers don't. But obviously I can't tell any details of what games I tested. I'm not going to go into that. Just in case I step on anybody's toes. I don't want to. But it's fun knowing you've been a part of doing that development, and a fun, fun to know you've helped out make the game a little bit better before the release. But every game I've beta tested has still had to be patched, has still had to be fixed, because you can't find every single tiny little bug in the game right away. So you've got to be patient with these developers and stop yelling and screaming at them. I mean, I'm a little ticked off with GTA 5. I'm sure at some point the heists will come out, and there'll maybe be a few other upgrades and stuff. They state online that more content will come through either patches or maybe even expansion packs. But and that would be really good fun. I mean, having the heist in there would make it a good bit better. But you won't, some of the missions you can do with 2 or 3 people. I mean, me and my friend Muff, we've done several missions that were set for 4 players. 2 to 4 players, and we can comfortably do them with just me and him. You really want a couple of good missions, such as heists, bank robberies, or something, where you can include a great deal of your crew. Perhaps even bring in a crew wars, where you can go into the map and I was disappointed in the amount. I figured it was going to be a little bit more than 16, and because the way it was built up and hyped, people were saying, "Oh, it's Grand Theft Auto Online, Grand Theft Auto Online," but it's really not. It's really Grand Theft Auto 5 with a little bit of online, and it's not that much different from, say, something like a Red Dead Redemption or something. The online is just like a bonus bit of content. It's mainly there for the single player game, but it was hyped up by I read several reports and several things, and it called the game GTA Online. It didn't call it GTA 5, and I probably had slightly higher expectations than what I probably should have. I almost thought it was going to be like a mini MMO, and with due respect, it's still a great online section, but it's not nowhere near the capacity of an MMO. You know, it would have to be just a pure separate game created called Grand Theft Auto Online to be that, which would be awesome. And who knows, it may come in the foreseeable future. You never know what's around the corner. But anyway, there you go. That's me talked for. Want to keep the video under a certain amount of time. It's 20 minutes now, so I don't really want to go with 25. So I've explained a few bits to you, talked to you. Hope people find the video interesting, and I hope people want to click the sub button. And there'll be more videos coming if people like me. I've made some videos, and they're getting a few little looks at and a few little likes, but nothing too much as of yet. I'm not expecting super amounts of likes and 20 million subscribers or nothing, but I would like to build it up ever so slowly and get a few more. I am working on getting better screen capture and stuff that allow me to capture my consoles, and just as with everybody, really, money's quite tight, and some of those can be quite expensive if you want to be able to capture it at least in 720p anyway. The ones that does it in the low res, you can pick them up for 40 or 50 pound, but then it jumps to about 100 to 140, 150 pound, which is a pretty big ask, and there's no way you can finance them or nothing. You've got to just drop it down, and so I've got responsibilities. I've got responsibilities in the house. You've got to buy your oil heating, you've got to pay for your electric, you've got to so it's hard to just walk in and go, here's 150 quid, give me that. And I'm still having to look through a whole bunch. So if anybody out there wants to give me any advice or any help on what's the best capture type card to buy for your PS3, because that's the one I play the most and have the most games for, of course, for the PC as well. If anybody has any kind of advice, and again, for some kind of a capture device for the PC, it would be nice if I could get a capture card that would do both. You plug it in, I know you plug them in and it brings the screen up on your laptop or your PC and records that as you're playing, and then you can go back and edit. But it would be nice if I could do one that does the same thing, like with the software that comes for the capture card. It will record your gameplay you're playing on the PC rather than having to have two separate ones. I've tried a couple out. You'll see that with my Guild Wars 2 videos and with my Euro Truck Sim, and I couldn't really find. I don't have a monster machine. I did have a lovely big PC, but it decided to clap out on me, and so I'm stuck with a laptop that's got quite a big, decent. It's got 6 gig of RAM. It's got an onboard radio that has a gig of video memory. But for some reason they've packed all that in and only give me a Pentium dual core processor. It's not even an Intel Duo, it's just an Intel dual core processor. I think it's a B960 or something like that. And it's probably the most fantastic processor you could get for laptops about 4 or 5 years ago. The laptop wasn't that expensive, but it just feels out of place having a processor that small when you've got 6 gig of RAM and a gig graphic card. It kind of bottlenecks when you're trying to play and record at the same time. So I would like perhaps a capture card or software that doesn't take a lot of memory or a lot of process use, so that I can capture some more gameplay footage on my PC, with perhaps even some Star Trek Online 2, some Guild Wars 2, some other games. I still play Euro Truck, but the frame rate drops violently down and things like that. It's difficult to keep it going when you've got the processor I've got. It's hard to capture. And getting a card as well for the PlayStation 3s. If anyone has any advice about that, feel free to drop in the comments. Maybe give me 2 or 3 cards you've heard of or whatever, and let me know. Anyway, thanks very much for listening. Hope you give it a quick like and subscribe. Thank you very much.